Hi everyone, welcome to Weekly Digest by Fibonacci X. Weekly Digest is a platform where we discuss the deals which happened in the startup ecosystem in India. So we discuss early stage, growth stage, and late stage deals. I think today we're going to be discussing week 10. So Vatsal, why don't you give us an overview about the deals that have happened in the past week?
Yes. So, in the past week, which was week 10, 23 startup deals happened in India. Two of them being from the growth stage, which is from Series B to pre IPO stage. And the remaining 21 deals were in the early stage, which is all the funding that happens before Series B. So, let's start with the growth stage startups. So, as we previously discussed, two startups raised in the growth stage. So, the first one is Darwinbox. So, Darwinbox is a cloud based human capital management platform designed for large enterprises. So that is all big words, but what does it actually do? So Darwinbox offers HR tools that covers an employee's life cycle, which means from recruitment, onboarding to performance review and the employee engagement. They offer these services through a mobile-based app and a dashboard available to the manager of the employees who can review all the metrics. And as disclosed by Darwinbox, major clients are Starbucks, Swiggy, Nivea, Crizzle, and many more.
So it's like HR tech, pretty much, right?
Yes. So the valuation was not available for Darwinbox, but they raised a Series D funding of approximately $140 million from KKR Partners Group and Gravity Holdings. And as per the information available, they generated a revenue of $47.5 million in FY 23-24.
Right. So this is more like a private equity deal. This is not a VC deal per se, right? Because you have KKR and I think PNL is already built out roughly 300 to 400 CR of revenue which they're doing, right? So it's not practically a VC deal. This is more
Right.
like a growth PE investment from these players, right? But good to see companies reaching growth stage funding in HR tech space. This is a space I think there where more founders will be emerging in the coming years, right? Mm, I don't know. Probably you'll need to study more about their platform. As such, I've not had the chance to look at it, but it looks like it's 360-degree HR, including recruitment, life cycle, onboarding, performance, employee engagement. So they're covering the whole life cycle, right? So that's interesting. But yeah, good. So
Right.
this is more growth stage funding, not VC, but PE. Okay, so let's move to the next startup.
So the next startup is called TrueMeds. So TrueMeds is a health startup that operates as an online pharmacy, connecting patients to licensed doctors for consultation and prescriptions. And in case a customer does not have a prescription, so to order the medicine, they need to connect with an online licensed doctor so that they can order the medicine. What they're doing is they are partnering up with with pharmacies, approximately 2,500, to deliver medicines to a customer. So they are operating from a hyper local delivery kind of a business model.
So hyperlocal, are they doing it through dark stores or are they doing it from neighborhood pharmacy
So they
shops, right?
have partnered up with
Mm.
neighborhood pharmacies, right?
Mm. Yeah, so Excel and Westbridge and InfoEdge, right? They're backing them. Revenue is
Right.
around 300 CR in FY 23-24. Do we know anything about their margins? We don't, right?
No.
Okay. So I think, as we know, I think closest competitors for them are going to be PharmEasy, NetMeds, 1mg. Now, 1mg is already backed by Tata, right? Pharmacy,
Right.
I think, went through some issues some time back, and they are going through some reorg, restructure, etc. Um, but I don't know, like if I was looking for medicine, why would I go to TrueMeds versus 1 mg or something else? So I think differentiation is one thing. Plus, I don't know, customer acquisition cost, marketing will be other consideration in this kind of business model, right? Because you have other funded companies in the same space, right? All three are also obviously 1mg has access to Tata balance sheet, but other two are also funded, right? So I think during COVID, we saw many such companies which emerged. Some of them have been shut down. If you Google, you'll find few companies which were doing, let's say, 80 to 100 CR of revenue and which were shut down because the demand was not there for wellness and for pharmacy and other things, right? So let's see, it will be interesting as they start building. Um, Hopefully, they're able to scale. Currently, I think differentiation and customer acquisition cost are two risks if I look at this business model.
Let's move on to early stage startups. So, as we discussed previously, 21 startups are raised in the early stage ecosystem. So, we are going to talk about three startups, which is Healthy Mithai Company, Swish, and Decimal. So, let's start with Healthy Mithai. So, Healthy Mithai specializes in diabetic friendly mithai, allowing health conscious consumers and those with dietary restrictions to enjoy sweets guilt free. So, as we know that health conscious consumers are on a rise, and in 2022 they were predicted to be around 130 million people, and since then it has predicted by 2027 they should increase to 200 million.
Seed round which they've done, right? So they've raised seed round of about roughly 1.2, 1.5 CR from Beyond Seed Ventures, and they're generating a revenue of about uh, again 1.5 CR, 1.6 CR, around 170K dollars, right? Yeah, so in this, see, this is a space which we understand because our portfolio is also consumer heavy, right? We have, uh, a couple of brands which are again in this health snacking category, right? We have Anju who's building Bliss by Anju, and our business is fabulous. But otherwise, outside our portfolio, there are already existing companies, even let's say established companies like Haldiram and all these players are also trying to do healthy mithai, right? I go to their shops and I see with date sweet or unsweetened or just, without refined sugar, different iterations they're coming up with. So I think this health as a category, right, over last 3, 4 years, whether you talk about wellness, you talk about healthy snacks, health overall has been on an upward trend. I think this is part of that trend, and I see this trend further rising in the coming years, right? So even Indian snacks like namkeen, laddus, and even other snacks like cakes and desserts, we are seeing a lot of health uh, snacks which are emerging across categories, right? Uh, Largely driven by increased awareness, increased consciousness, but also because of rise of NCDs like diabetes, obesity. All these issues are coming up, so people are kind of choosy about what they're putting into their bodies. So if you look at it, we have also done a couple of conversations, one with Anju, another one with Mukul, who's running Gatify and Life Chart. So you can go to our YouTube channel and just scroll through and you'll find those episodes. We'll give the link to those episodes in the description also. So I think Achal or Vatsal can add that. But health as a category, I think in snacking will continue to be relevant. Um, and let's see how many. See, one of the things is that Building a consumer brand in this space is a long drawn out exercise. So even spending money may not amount to anything. So one is your product really good, right? Does it stick to the customer? So you may need to look at repeat rate, order volumes, your TG you need to do really, really well. So consumer businesses are slightly tough, right, in versus B2B thing. And differentiation and branding, positioning, these are the key elements, and it takes time, right? And founders need to be patient. It's not overnight that by spending or making an online splash, you can build the brand overnight. So it's the single transaction at a time. And that's how you build a brand. And taste recallability and food technology and all those things play a role in this. So you need to have a really good understanding about the product. I think that's where somebody like Anju, who is part of our portfolio, is also is doing a fabulous job. I think in the coming years, she will probably grow to be one of the leading companies in this space, right? But overall, if you ask me, I will be more than happy to look at other companies which are still emerging and building this space. So yeah, let's see if we can find more companies in this space.
So the next startup is Swiss. Swiss is a Bangalore-based 10-minute food delivery platform. So it's offer fresh food from Delight Centers. So Delight Center, it's like a compact kitchen, and their specialization is that they deliver food in 10 minutes. So they recently raised 14 million from Hara Global and SL India.
And why should they succeed in this market? And I don't even know like how big is this 10-minute quick delivery market. Ultimately, for small ticket purchases, all the volume should ideally shift, at least in tier one cities for a set of consumers to quick commerce. Um, but let's see, right? I think a lot of their money will again go on customer acquisition, right, and marketing, building awareness, etc., for the brand, right? Ideally, all these brands are competing for the same set of consumers. Both of you are from Gen Z, so what do you guys generally order? Right? I think for Vatsal, because you stay in a locality where Kirana shops are not close by, right? Usually in gated communities, I think in South Delhi, Kirana shops may generally not be very close. There are one or two, but not very close. So what do you generally order?
So usually, in the terms of frequency, I usually order a burger. I don't look at how fast the food can get to me, but rather how or like how much trust I have on the brand and how the food is in terms of fresh food.
And what about your friends, your peer group?
So they usually, I think they also have nearby Kirana stores, as do I, but we don't usually order from them now, since quick commerce, Swiggy has allowed us to directly order from the mobile and we don't have to go anywhere. I think that is one thing. As for fresh food, maybe brands like Eat Fit is one of my peer group's favorite, as the food is healthier in comparison to other fresh food brands.
So that positioning and the messaging is clear to you, basically. Whether it's healthy or not, that's a secondary
Yes.
thing. But at least as a user, that messaging is clear to you, and you're able to understand that this is what, and it appeals to you. It'll be interesting to learn about how do they bring about this operational efficiency to manage 10 minutes ordering. Um, but also, right, some of the companies like Zomato, Swiggy, which are already well capitalized. And even Zepto now has after these last two rounds, they have managed to capture a large real estate. And I think running dark stores is essentially a real estate business, right? So let's take an example of the zip code in which I stay. There are only one or two locations within that 2-3 kilometers diameter where you can actually have a dark store. Other places you can't really have a dark store because there's no place available. So you are basically all of them will be bidding for the same warehouses, same places. So now it becomes The edge really comes from how much money do you have on your balance sheet. And after that, I think the value unlocking will happen over the next coming years. Um, but maybe in the subsequent themes, maybe subsequent episodes, we also start discussing about some of the categories which are shifting to this 10-minute delivery trend, right? So what within consumer goods, what within eatable items is being delivered in those 10 minutes? I think it would be interesting if we can showcase some data in the coming episodes. I think that will be, we can do a whole 5-10 minutes conversation. I think let's see. Let's park that for the next episode or something. Yeah. Let's move forward. I think we have done growth now. So we are moving to early stage.
We have completed growth and we have done two startups in the early stage.
Okay. Good. So what is the next one is decimal.
Yes, yes. So, Decimal is a Pune-based fintech startup. So it's basically specializes in micro investing by automatically rounding up the user's online transaction. If you like a transition or 91 rupees, so it will transact the 100 rupees and the leftover money it will invest into the mutual funds.
So I think this one is more like a strategic investment from one of the broking firms, right? Janam Broking. They've invested about $3 million. Um, I would say they've not really have any meaningful revenue. They have hardly done $16,000 in FY 23-24. So let's see how it unfolds. Micro investing, I do remember, other players, which let's say JAR is backed by VCs, right? Arkham Ventures portfolio company, and their theme is also Bharat, right? So that's interesting for us. Mm. But JAR is, I think, doing only this application in digital gold. So they're also rounding up that amount in digital gold. So definitely a use case for Middle India, and let's see how it comes out. Um, I think one of the interesting things is I think Ronak also has background in marketing at Bombay Shaving Company, so definitely has experience of creating brands in the consumer space. And Satyajit also has done a startup before. So the team looks, fairly experienced. So hopefully there should be something meaningful coming out of it. So we'll watch this decimal as well because it's building around our theme, it seems like. So I think that's it for this week 10 from Fibonacci X. So today we discussed HR tech, digital pharmacy, fintech, and quick commerce, which is 10-minute food delivery. Um, so I think it was a pretty good mix. Luckily, I mean, as our portfolio is also consumer heavy. This week again was consumer was at the center stage. I think 6 out of 21 deals were in consumer space. Um, and that's something which we shouldn't be surprised about. India as an economy will see the consumption rising multiple fold in the coming years. So not even on the weekly basis, if you look at the monthly data and year-over-year data, consumer retail is somewhere where we have seen a large allocation happening, right? And I think one of the biggest challenges for these companies in consumer sector is always differentiating yourself because usually they're building in a crowded space. The revenue pie is there, but the differentiation and acquiring customers is the key challenge, right? So hopefully you found this helpful. We'll be back next week, deep diving into a few other deals which happen throughout this week. Stay tuned and don't forget to follow us on YouTube for staying on top of weekly deals in early stage, growth stage, and late stage VC investments. Thank you for your time.